Hello everybody. Finally, I do a video that's earlier in the day. It's 10:51 a.m. here in Philly. I am sitting in campus. I got some free time to talk. I already kind of wrote this one out, so it might seem a little scripted, but I won't read it or anything. I'm just going to talk about it. So, subject for today: telling others how to live. That's something that many people do a lot. And when I say it like that, telling others how to live, it's like, oh, I hate that, it sounds bad. And in it can be bad. It can be viewed as a bad thing, or it can be viewed as annoying to others. And that is if you do it that way, if you do it in a bad way. Inherently, telling others how they should live their life shouldn't be a bad thing, because in itself it is to just try and help somebody else out. For example, you might see somebody in front of you, maybe they're mindlessly scrolling, or they're drinking alcohol, or they're doing some sort of other bad habit that you've either known yourself to be bad through personal experience, or you've never figured that you would ever do that. Maybe it's worse than you've ever done, and it's bad. Maybe not even just by personal experience, maybe just by witnessing others and how it affects others. So the altruism in you wants to try and help them, and that could be through telling them, essentially you're telling them how to live. You might say, oh, don't do that, hey, maybe let's do something else, or you shouldn't be doing that. That's an approach that is taken. Not always effective. The way I see it, if you truly want someone to change and just helping them, remember that you don't own people. No one owns people truly. That's kind of old times. Now, we ought to not own people. I hope you don't own people. I don't know what's going on around the world nowadays, but in Philly, people tend not to own others, even though they pretend to sometimes. But really, you do not own other people. They are not you. It is not your responsibility to change how they live, unless they are your children and you are a parent. You should determine how they go on with their lives and make it the best approach possible, because they're a sponge at that point. It's on you. But I'm talking like peers, people that are around your age, or just other adults in the world. They are not you. They are not your responsibility. Therefore, it's not your case to change them. However, you can still try and help. This is essentially what telling others how to live should be. It should be that you are trying to help them. And a lot of people always, are trying to tell others how to live, but they don't exactly do it right. And I guess sometimes they make it personal. Like, oh, if you don't do this, then you're going to do this and that. Like, you're going to go down the worst path. Like, how could you, obviously the worst thing you could do is make it personal, because at this point you're attacking them. And when you tend to attack people, they don't listen. Information that is sent in like an attacking sentiment just goes over people's heads. They're not going to learn anything from it. So to really help people, you have to take more of a subtle approach of, just asking them, hey, why are you doing what you're doing? Just why? Why are you doing that? And they might answer you why, or maybe they give you a snarky remark, something like to just, blow you off. But that question alone, why are you doing this, can grow, like planting the seed in their head. They might go on later in the day and ask themselves that question, like, why am I doing this? And that alone, you have ended up helping that person, reach self-awareness. Why am I doing this? And maybe they put in the work to improve themselves after that. It could just be as simple as that. Other approaches that could be better is like maybe when you do ask somebody why you're doing what you do, in this case, like a bad habit, it could be as simple as like they tell you why, and they also indicate that they want to change. Like, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore. So at that point, it's exciting, right? Like, oh, you want to change, then I can help you. But don't overload them with information. Like, don't say like all this stuff, like you gotta do this, you gotta do that, because that will also fly over their head. That's overload, information overload. You just want to give them the simple steps on how to or how to step forward. For example, somebody asked me like, hey, I see that you don't smoke and I want to quit myself, like, you know, in terms of marijuana. So the advice I gave them was, if you really want to quit and there's something in you that makes you want to quit that addiction, then you have to take the negative emotions, like the disgust, and utilize that to make yourself stop. And that's the simplest way of thinking of it, but that first step is still a step, and it's up to them to find the rest of the complex steps from then on to find their way to quit that addiction. As long as they keep on trying to do it, eventually they'll reach it. No matter how many different approaches it may take, because everybody's different, that's still planting a seed for them to change. So yeah, essentially, don't tell people how to live, but try and plant that seed so that they can change if you want to help. Thanks. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.